It is time to take back some of those yards that you have lost. I'm so excited to share this concept with you. This is kind of a little bit of a senior move for those players who have lost distance. It doesn't have to be that way. And I've seen so many players get so much distance back so quickly with this one little change that I'm going to show you. It's actually a couple of different changes, but this makes such a big difference really fast. So many older players really struggle to get all the way up onto this trail toe here, right? Kind of that tour player finish where the body's fully released to the left and you're all the way up onto that trail toe. Maybe that's for the young guys and the tour players, but a lot of players are really struggling with that. And you may be to a point where you're going, man, I'm just never going to get all the way up onto this trail toe and make that full finish. So there are two real sources of power. And so it's okay that you can't do the one, which is to make a fast body rotation through impact up onto that trail toe. It is a source of power, but it's okay that you can't do that, okay? Because there's another source of power that I know that you can tap into. It is getting into a position in the backswing where you've made a little bit bigger turn, the hands are a little bit deeper behind you, and this position here at the top of the swing puts you in a position where you can swing that club more from the inside and whip the toe of the club past the heel of the club. Think of this club as a tool, okay? And if you can really learn how to use this tool efficiently, I always talk about a hammer. What if you're hammering something, you know to break that wrist and release it, and there's power and snap right there if you're hammering a nail in, right? And what if you were just, instead of making this move, what if you were just going like this, right? The hammer, the tool does not work as efficiently or effectively, and you have to work a lot harder. The golf club is the same. It is a tool designed to use efficiently, and if you're not using it efficiently this way, you're working a lot harder. And you can learn to use it efficiently this way, no matter what kind of physical limitations you may have, balance issues, being able to finish the swing, get up all the way on that right toe. So the club is a tool. It is designed to be swung from the inside on the downswing and the toe of the club to really whip past the heel of the club, okay? Toe of the club, whip past the heel of the club. So what it means is we've got to set you up in a way that if you can't make that big turn over here, you can certainly make that big turn back here and put yourself in a position where you can swing that club from the inside, use the tool efficiently, and whip the club past the heel, the toe of the club past the heel of the club, and really get that pop and that snap, deliver that all of the energy from the club to the ball. Here's how we do it. So the first thing that I want you to do is adopt what I call a stronger grip. You're gonna need it when we start to make these changes. Strong, just really, and I'm not telling you to grip the club tightly. This is really important. I want you to know that I'm not telling you to grip the club tightly. What strong refers to is the stronger, more penetrating ball flight you get when that club face comes through square instead of that weak ball flight that you get when the club face comes through open. So strong just means is a reference to the ball flight, not the grip pressure. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna put the club out in the fingers of the lead hand. We're gonna pinch the thumb and forefinger together on this lead hand, put it out in the fingers, pinch the thumb and forefinger together. Now, kind of wrap that hand over so that that lead thumb is on the trail side of the top of the grip here. This is going to help you really turn that club over. That's what we're gonna need when we get this club path coming more from the inside and we're using the tool efficiently and effectively. We're gonna need to encourage that club face rotation. That's where a lot of that snap, that whip, that power comes from, and this strong grip does it, right? Right now, wherever you are, if you're in your living room, grab a club, position your hand on the grip of the club this way, and feel how it wants to turn over. And if you want to feel the opposite, position your hand on the grip in what's called a weak position, because of that weak ball flight that we don't want that it produces. Now try to turn that club over and you can feel it just doesn't, the toe of the club doesn't want to release or whip past the heel of the club. So the very first, most important thing that we can do is go to this stronger grip, because when we make these next adjustments, you're going to be swinging from the inside. And if you don't have that strong grip and have that toe of the club really whipping past the heel of the club, you're going to hit it to the right. So strong grip is the first thing. Practice it, work on it, ingrain it. That's how you do it. Now, the next adjustment that we are going to make, I want you to put the ball dead in the center. We've got an iron right here. Start working on this with irons. The same thing will apply. You'll hit your driver longer and straighter. I'm just going to talk about irons right here today, because you always want to start with that shorter, more lofted club when you're working on these kinds of things, just because it's easier to do with the shorter, more lofted club, okay? So we put the ball dead in the center of the stance, okay? Now, when we step our feet apart here, what we're gonna do is we're gonna step this foot forward just a hair, and we're gonna step this foot back just a hair, okay? Now, once we've stepped this foot back just a hair, the next thing that we wanna do is we wanna flare this foot just a little bit. Now, this is gonna put us in a position where it's just so easy to make that bigger turn in the backswing, right? And what else is gonna happen here is that when you make this little bit bigger turn in the backswing, your hands are gonna be here instead of your hands being out here, okay? When your hands are here, now all of a sudden, you're naturally gonna swing that club path more from the inside on the downswing, and it's that swinging the club path from the inside on the downswing, that's what really allows you to get the toe of the club to whip past the heel of the club, as opposed to over the top with that chicken wing, that weak move, right? So before, if you were doing this, over the top, chicken wing, holding the face open, getting none of that from the inside kind of whip and that pop, this is going to make such a huge, huge difference for you. So that is the thing that we're going to change. Now, when we start talking about how to square up the club face and how to whip the toe of the club past the heel of the club, you have to stop thinking of the golf swing as a hitting motion, and you have to start thinking about it as a throwing motion, okay? And one great mental image that I love for this is to just picture that the ball is attached to your club face with Velcro. If the ball was attached to your club face with Velcro, what would you do to throw the ball off of your club face down the fairway? Well, you would throw or whip that toe of the club past the heel of the club to do that, right? If the ball was attached to my club face with Velcro and I wanted to throw it down the fairway here, I wouldn't come through and go like this. I wouldn't hold it open and chicken wing. You can feel that would make it go to the right, right? What I would do is I would come through and I would go like this, and I would fling or throw that ball off of the club face that's attached with Velcro, and I would fling it and throw it down the fairway, okay? So think of this as a throwing motion and use that mental image. Some of these simple mental images can be just so powerful when you really start to apply it to thinking about the golf swing in a completely different way. It is a throwing motion, not a hitting motion. So I want to take you through now exactly how you will practice this, and we're going to hit a few balls here. And what we're really going for here now is the draw shape, okay? Because draw means that you're delivering maximum amount of energy from the club to the ball, right? We've talked about making this much more efficient swing using the tool efficiently. We've talked about how you may not be able to use the body 100% efficiently with that full body finish, but you can sure use this tool more efficiently with those changes that we're making here and making that bigger turn, getting the hands deeper, swinging more from the inside, using that mental image of it being a throwing motion and throwing or flinging that ball off of the club face and throwing it down the fairway. So here's how we are going to do this. One thing I should have mentioned is when we go to this stance and we close that stance, let me show you this real quick. This is a super important piece to this. So when we set up here square and we go forward with this foot, then we go back a little bit with this foot and flare it. Now we're set up to make that big turn. But what happened right there when I made that change? Well, what happened was what started as a center ball position just became a forward ball position, because your ball position kind of follows the center of your sternum right here, right? So if I've got an open stance, I can get away with playing that ball a little bit more forward. But if I'm starting to close my stance a little bit, that's going to move the bottom of the swing arc back. It's going to move the bottom of the swing back. So we really need to play this ball back a little bit. So when I set up here and I go take this step forward and this step back, now I just want to make sure that I'm really erring on the side of having that ball position in the back of my stance, as you can see here. Now we're all set up to make that big move in the backswing. It's going to get us more turn at the top because we're already kind of preset it here and we're already starting to make that move. One last thing before we hit these is I want you to, as you start the backswing, I want you to think about this trail hip moving back to start the backswing, okay? Because what we want is more shoulder turn, but I see the players who think about making a big shoulder turn, and what ends up happening is all of these things that you don't want. You see players, hands and arms get out of sync. You see lifting motion, all of these things. If you just instead, if you turn your hips more, you're going to turn your shoulders more. So if you just focus on this trail hip moving back to start the backswing, you're going to turn your shoulders more. And I got sprinklers. Oh, the hazards of shooting video early in the morning when they're out here doing some maintenance. So they just shut the sprinkler off for me when the maintenance guy just came by. Everything's a little wet now, including myself, but the show must go on here. And I was just getting to the most important part and piece to this, and we're gonna hit a few, and make sure that you're hitting it longer, straighter, having more fun, getting that little draw shape. So here's how we do it. I was talking about how when you think about turning making a big shoulder turn, lots of bad things happen. When you think about making a little hip turn here, the shoulders turn a lot more. You get all the things that we want, the deeper hands at the top of the swing. Everything that we want to have happen happens, and it does it without all those bad things that happen when you think shoulder turn. So we're thinking hip turn here. So here's the whole thing. Let's put it all together here. So we are going ball position dead center. When we step this lead foot forward just a hair, we're going to step this back foot just a little bit and flare it, and making sure that we're erring on the side of having the ball position towards the back. We do want the club face nice and square here. So once you've done that, go ahead and take your grip now, okay? Don't take your grip before, after you've come in. So you would come in, you would set up, set the club face square first, ball dead in the center of the stance right here. We are going to forward step this foot, this one back, ball back in the stance a little bit. Now we're gonna take that good strong grip, mental image of flinging that ball off the club face to really get that club to turn over, and then just that little swing thought of that hip turning back in the backswing here. So throwing it off the club. Man, that was a really solid, smoked little feeling shot right there. That's the feeling that you're gonna get a lot more often when you start implementing this. That was just a little bullet right there. Let's hit another one here. Take you through this routine a couple of times here, because this little routine is where it all comes together. So you're gonna walk in here, you're going to feet together, set the face, feet together, set the face. Now, this foot forward just that little bit here, this foot back and flared, ball position, just a little bit in the back. Now take your grip, right? We've done that adjustment there. Now we're gonna take that grip, and now we're just, only swing thought here is this hip back and then club face attached with Velcro, ball attached with Velcro to the club face, throw and fling it down the fairway. So trail hip back and going. And that one, you'll get that a little bit. That's a little bit of a push. Okay, that's not exactly where I wanted it. Super solid, powerful feeling shot, but it just didn't quite turn over. So I didn't quite get the face to rotate over on that swing. And you'll get that. Sometimes you might even hook it a little bit too when you get the face turned over too much. Let's go through it one more time. Man, I'm really in front of the golf ball there. We're wearing that spot out, aren't we? Ball in the center. Step it, ball. Back of the stance right here, flared just a little bit. Now that good strong grip after we've set the face right here. And now we're really going to go hip. So, and I could feel myself, you know, when I start to get that little bit more turn, that pass starts to come from the inside on the downswing, hands get a little faster, toe of the club really starts to whip past the heel of the club. Then we get that solid, just almost just, it feels like an explosion of the ball off the club face. So that's what it'll feel like when you get this right. And you don't need to be able to finish all the way up on your toe to be able to do it. So I hope that helps you know that there is hope if you've lost distance. You've got to use this club efficiently. That's how you do it. And I hope that helps you gain back, take back some of those yards that you may have lost.